What's up, y'all? It's Brian Keith, and I'm back with another video. Today we'll be talking about Big Brother. Today we'll be looking at the exit interview for Brittany. Shout out to Catherine Dunn. Like, comment, and subscribe, and enjoy the video.
Let me check my shit real quick. Hotter than the fire coming out my flaming lips. You wanna play with me? You can't play in me. On the playground, bitch, you can't play with me. Got it, won it, securing the bag.
My format is simple. If you watch one of my videos before, you know that we will look at the interview and listen to the responses. I will jump in periodically to just interject my thoughts on what we're hearing. And if you would like to watch the full videos, drop down to the description box for the link to the full videos in its entirety.
Early on in the game, you sensed that you were being excluded from the rest of the Girls Alliance. Now that you've made it to the end as one of the final two women standing, how does it feel looking back on those first few weeks?
You know, it's so crazy. I'm sure you remember this feeling, right? You're propelled into this game. You're sussing out personalities. You're trying to understand where you sit. And there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than the feeling of, I'm supposed to be working with this group, but I can just tell that things aren't jiving. Like, what is happening? What am I not aware of? And I mean, it does feel kind of nice to be one of the, last two women to make it as far in this game, given how everything started out, especially given that I was backstage, Taylor was on the block week one. No one expected us to make it as far as we did.
Honest, I love Brittany as a player and as a person. I feel like she's a nice girl. I really wasn't, she didn't do that much for me to really connect with her like that. But they're both floaters. And it's so sad because I called Brittany from the beginning. I said, Brittany's my girl. She was in my top 3. And then slowly over the weeks, I'm like, she's going to pull something. Like, she's a sleeper. She's a snake in the grass. She's going to come and attack. And she never did. The only reason she started playing the game, and we actually heard her backstory about her wanting to win the money and start a family and like either adoption or IVF, is because Michael left.
Had you decided to stick with the Girls Alliance, how do you think the rest of your game would have played out? Would you have still aligned so closely with Taylor and Michael? Hypothetically, had they both resulted in the same placement, which game would you have preferred?
Ooh, that's a real tough one to say. I mean, of course, you come into the game and you kind of have these lofty aspirations, right? Like, I just would love to watch a season where the Girls Alliance makes it all the way. But as you get to know people, you suss out personalities, you build true relationships and friendships. I'm sure you can remember this. You get to know people and you figure out who you're friends with, whether they're a girl, whether they're a guy. That component of it doesn't seem to matter as much as who you get along with and who's really playing the game. When I think about the other women in the house, I respect their gameplay in a lot of different ways, but just the strategy was there with Michael and with Taylor. And I felt like I was speaking more of their language, was drawn more to them, and, ultimately played closer with them. I think it probably would have shook out that way regardless.
Brittany, a lot of the women in the house attach themselves to men. I feel like the same thing with Alyssa. Alyssa attached herself to Kyle. Alyssa was so smitten over Kyle throughout the entirety of the show. And then with Brittany attached herself to damn near the strongest player in the house. And it was smart because it kept her safe throughout the entirety of the first half of the game. But once Michael got out, her shield was absolutely gone. To be honest, to me, if Brittany could have at least won HOHs and maybe some POVs, she won one POV, but if she could have won more stuff but had Michael as a shield, that would have been a perfect strategy. Just having Michael in front of her the whole time as the bigger target. So if they're ever on the block together, they're taking out Michael like they did. But she didn't do anything, so it made it seem like she was just there. And I felt like especially with Michael's exit interview, I spoke about this during Michael's the episode I did with Michael, how Michael really threw her under the bus. I know Brittany feels some type of way about it, and she feels that why would he do this to me, and I'm so shocked. I would expect this for anybody but you. And I feel like she definitely is going to get over it. She doesn't seem like a type of person that will hold a grudge, but I just don't know. Michael said a lot of shit, and when he did it, watching it live is crazy because my mouth was on the ground. I'm like, damn, Michael, really, you doing Brittany like that? But one thing, like I said in the video, I respect it, because if you're playing the game, like, I would love to play Big Brother. I would love to play Big Brother, you know? Like, I might apply for Big Brother 25. It just depends on my work schedule and stuff. But I would love to play Big Brother, you know? But I respect the fact that Michael threw her under the bus. Sounds weird, I know. But I respect the fact that he did whatever he had to do during his speech to keep himself in that house. Because I would do the same thing. So when I go to sleep at night on the next day, I wouldn't have any regrets. I could never say I didn't do everything in my ability to win this money. I respect it. I feel like Michael will be a superstar player, and I respect everything about Michael.
Kyle presented you with the Cookout 2.0 theory weeks before you decided to reveal it to the house, resulting in some feedback from your fellow house guests. If you could do it all over again, would you have chosen to reveal this information sooner, or do you think timing is everything?
Oh, that situation, I will tell you, it felt impossible, and it just weighed so heavy on my shoulders. And ultimately, I just wanted to make sure that the facts were correct, because it felt like a lose-lose situation to be in. And the only thing that I could think that would make it any potentially worse is to say that I was spreading that and it was misinformation. Perhaps I misheard what Kyle said, or I misunderstood what Kyle said. I wanted to fact check. And then of course, you have Dire Fest thrown into the middle of that, which really shook up the game. I just wanted to make sure that I was confident before I shared this with the house guests, and it took that amount of time.
I definitely felt like Michael and Brittany were being strategic when they brought that up to the house guests weeks later. But the way she explained it, I mean, it makes sense. Like, you don't want to say something that's defamatory and then it be wrong, or someone saying it unjust. So I get both sides of it, because I mean, the way she explained it makes sense. But my personal opinion, I do feel like it was being strategic.
You had a final two with Taylor since the beginning of the game, yet you seemed to doubt her loyalty and even went as far as voting to evict her over Alyssa when they were both on the block. So was this final two a real final two, or was it just gameplay to try and gain Taylor as a number?
It's so tricky, right? A real final two, yes, it was real in the moment. I knew that there was a very strong possibility that Michael would not make it to the end of this game, given how good he was at comps. And so if he wasn't going to make it to the end of this game, you better bet Taylor was my girl. Final two. Things change though, and I'm sure you remember, you have to be adaptable. You have to include new information, and especially as Michael was leaving and directly after, I felt some distance between Taylor and I. Something seemed kind of up. I know she had been getting increasingly closer with Monty. You just have to take in all the new information. And I wasn't quite sure where she was at. And I also knew that I felt alone, and that I had to look at this strategically and determine, okay, if my only strategy is that I stay here as long as I win, what is going to increase my chances of winning this next comp? And, if I compared Alyssa and I compared Taylor, I knew Taylor was a stronger competitor. So if this plan were to go through, and let me tell you, I did not have very high hopes that it would go through. I knew I could play it either way, whether Turner voted her out or not. I knew that ultimately at the end of the day, if I was competing against Alyssa, I'd have a better chance of winning. And wouldn't you know, the next HOH, it comes down to me and Taylor in a tiebreaker vote, and I lose that HOH to Taylor. If I had been playing against Alyssa, who knows? Maybe I would have won.
Yeah, but it's a short video with Brittany, and unfortunately they are going to be floaters for the season, and that's just what it was, Yo, let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think about Brittany? Did you like them on the show? Did you think that Brittany was going to pull something out in the 9th inning? But let me know down in the comments what you guys think about Brittany. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.